Hi, I'm Brett Parker, Multimedia Specialist for Dairy Foods Magazine. And today we're highlighting Challenge, who've recently launched Butter Cubes, a new cube-shaped butter format designed for easy measuring and less mess cooking. Here to discuss this is Michael Burdeny, Chief Commercial Officer of California Dairies. Michael, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Brett. It's a pleasure to be here. Looking forward to our chat.
Me too. Can you tell us the motivation behind creating these butter cubes?
Yeah, certainly. Well, first of all, I think it's safe to say that butter is having a bit of a moment right now. There's been a lot more people kind of, I think, discovering cooking. They're looking to get back into kitchen with, simple ingredients, things that have, I think less processing, but also have a lot of flavor. So obviously butter is a very popular food and it's been growing in popularity, over the last few years in particular as people have been cooking more and more at home. But I think the opportunity, if there was, of making such a great product even better, is just how to make it more convenient. So as people are discovering cooking, they're looking for, I think, simple ways to shorten the cooking time, to, get to the end result a little bit easier. So they're looking for hacks, things that help make their life easier. And so the inspiration for the butter cubes came by just simply, how can we make the experience a little bit easier, a little less messy, help folks follow their recipes a little bit more easily. So hence the butter cube.
So you kind of touched on this, but I wanted to get into the specifics about the advantages of having butter in cube form because I know that it helps out with a lot of chefs and a lot of cooking recipes specifically.
Yeah. So I think that, I mean, that's kind of the heart of it, but really the thing about the butter cube is, every cube comes out fresh. I think we always like that moment when you unwrap something for the first time and it's untouched and it's just has this real kind of freshness to it. And so with the butter cube, and I've got a prop right here. So with our butter cube, each one of these cubes is individually measured for exactly 4 tablespoons or, a quarter of a cup or 2 ounces. So again, when you're following the recipe, it just makes it really easier, whether it's a 2 tablespoon, you can do a half a cup, or sorry, you could do a half a cube, you could do a quarter cup and just make it much more easy to follow. And then what you put back, whether it's on the tabletop or on the fridge, just has less mess. So every time you take it out, there's less mess. So if you're like me and I like to leave my butter on the countertop, between those sticks, just a little bit less mess, a little less cleanup. So again, just makes things a lot more convenient. And then the other thing about the butter cube is the shape when it's in the 1 pound box is fits really nicely in that butter dish, in that butter compartment in your refrigerator as well. So it's a nice convenient shape that fits well in your fridge. But when you take out these cubes, they just sort of I think keeps the whole experience a lot more convenient.
What are the biggest challenges of creating a butter product such as this?
Yeah, I mean the biggest challenge for us was quite simply the equipment to make it doesn't exist, right? So we had to work with an equipment manufacturer to custom make this to make this particular machine. So it took us quite a while, several iterations of sort of refining the process to make sure it could run properly, that it could wrap the butter, and sort of keep in its form and ultimately get packaged into cases and shippers. And so I think that was the biggest challenge. So we are the only butter processor that has this particular processing equipment with this capability. But I think, beyond the sort of manufacturing side of things, as we bring it through to our consumers, the other challenge is just getting, kind of what your questions are all about, Brett, is asking, what is the benefit to this? So we're helping folks to sort of understand, beyond its sort of being a really fun shape, How does this make my life more convenient? So we also put quite a bit of thinking into the package design as well. So, you sort of see the what's inside the package with this, little visual aid here, but then on the back of the package, we've got a nice little conversion chart. So as you're doing your recipes, it's pretty easy at a glance to kind of think about, do I need one cube, a half a cube, you know, a couple cubes? So it just helps people kind of navigate how this can make their lives easier.
What do you think distinguishes challenged butter from similar products on the market?
Well, I think a lot of it is just about who is challenged. So we're a farmer-owned cooperative. We're proudly all made here in the USA. We've been doing this butter making for over 110 years. So our network of family farmers that are 300 members strong. We all have our dairies, really close to our manufacturing facility. So most of them are within 40 miles of a processing facility. So it goes from the farm to the churn, normally within 24 hours. So we always know that we're getting the freshest milk, and the freshest milk makes the freshest butter. So it gets from farm to package in a reasonably short amount of time, and obviously we carry that on to our consumers, and gets that onto the tabletop so they know that they're getting the best possible quality.
Now, seeing as how butter cubes are so unique, I was wondering, do you feel there's room for more innovation and versatility in the butter space going forward?
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking at ways to sort of take the benefits of butter to more people in more ways, and innovation is certainly a big part of that. It's one of those food products where it's already so good. Sometimes one might be thinking, well, how can we innovate here? But what we're looking at from sort of an innovation strategy standpoint is just how do we take the benefits of butter and make it either more convenient to consumers. So obviously the cubes are a great representation of that. Our spreadable products are another thing that we're looking at because we can go from sort of cold in the fridge. You don't have to worry about waiting for it to soften before you spread it on your toast. So that's a really good convenience play. And so we've been innovating there. In particular, we've been, for example, we just introduced a couple of years ago an avocado blend spread. So people are getting the benefits of an avocado, a clean taste with the spreadability of a fresh butter. And that one's been getting some great traction with the trade. We're also looking at really delivering more flavor. And the fat is really where that flavor comes from. So our Danish Creamery, which is another brand that we represent here at CDI, is a higher butter fat product. So this is where we're going from, the standard of identity, which is a minimum 80% to an 85% butter fat, which takes quite a bit of extra churning and extra effort to get that extra 5 points of butter fat. But it's definitely worth it because it creates such a flavorsome product, and we're seeing a lot of growth happening in that super premium space within the butter category. And then accessibility, I think, is another one. So, we're seeing more people that are, lactose intolerant. And so we would hate for them to miss out on the opportunity of enjoying a real fresh dairy product. So, something we've seen a lot more growth in the fluid dairy space, more lactose-free products hitting the market and gaining popularity. And so for butter, we also have a lactose-free spreadable product as well, so that those folks that are lactose intolerant or lactose sensitive don't have to miss out on enjoying their butter. So yeah, lots of room for innovation, and we certainly got a lot more things in the pipeline that we're going to be exciting to talk to you about, and hopefully a few months here. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. Well, it all sounds great. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Michael Burdeny of California Dairies, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Brett. It's been a pleasure.
Same here. And thank you all for watching.